Welcome to Hunter Beyond Time and Space Chapter 27. Informant. Subscribe to our channel for more exciting English audio novels. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and turn on the notification bell to let us know your thoughts. Countdown, 16 hours and 20 minutes. Yesterday night, a new batch of prisoners arrived at the 18th prison. Under Qin Chen's instructions, Lu Guanyi went to inquire about the origins of each new prisoner. In the end, Qin Chen confirmed that there were no time travelers in this batch of new prisoners. He speculated that all time travelers entered and exited together, and no one would travel midway during another's time travel process. This way, all time travelers were in the same timeline. At this time, Li Shutong and Qin Chen were already playing chess at the dining table. After you instructed Lu Guanyi to be more restrained, there were fewer crying and howling new prisoners in the prison. Li Shutong looked at the chessboard and said, "But have you noticed that the other two factions in the prison are already very dissatisfied with Lu Guanyi?" Usually, the three factions took turns hosting the new prisoner welcoming ceremony as a form of entertainment. But now that Lu Guanyi was the only one doing it, it was bound to cause dissatisfaction among others. Qin Chen made a move with the red piece and answered, "I noticed, but I believe Lu Guanyi can handle it himself." "Have you ever thought that those new prisoners may not be grateful to you?" Li Shutong laughed. Qin Chen thought for a moment and said, "When you meet a beggar on the street and throw some change at him, that change is not enough to lift him out of poverty, but you buy some peace of mind and joy in your heart." Li Shutong smiled and didn't say anything else. Today's endgame was called Wild Horse Treading on Farmland, but Qin Chen, playing as the red side, didn't win, but instead drew the game. In fact, the so-called chess endgame was when the black side had taken the advantage, and drawing the game was already considered breaking the deadlock. Unlike the past chess spectators, there was another person besides the group of prisoners who looked confused and awed, Guo Huchan. Yesterday, this big man sat politely in the distance, but today he sat directly beside Qin Chen, opposite Li Shutong. The tall man sitting on the chair made the chair look like a small stool, which was awkward to look at. But Guo Huchan didn't care. He wanted to sit next to Li Shutong. Since he couldn't beat them, he joined them. Moreover, he saw real meat in Qin Chen's food, but not in his own. So he boldly said to Li Shutong, "I am also a prominent figure in the spades, why are you guys eating real meat and making me eat synthetic meat? Is this how you treat guests?" Lin Xiao smiled and sneered at him, "Can you be the same as us? Why don't you fight the boss again, and if you win, we'll let you eat. Don't always fight and kill like this, it's not good." Guo Huchan touched his bald head and said, "And why are you three eating real meat? Why is the guy playing chess also eating real meat? He's just an ordinary person. Hey kid, go get another portion for yourself, and give me yours." Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Guo Huchan to be so shameless. Unable to provoke Li Shutong, he chose to pick on Qin Chen, who he thought was an easy target. At this moment, Qin Chen looked at Guo Huchan, and then at Lin Xiao and the others. He found that Lin Xiao didn't retort, but was smiling and seemed interested in seeing how he would handle this big bald man. Qin Chen silently closed his eyes and didn't respond to Guo Huchan. Seeing this, Guo Huchan thought that the young man was afraid of him, and boldly picked up Qin Chen's plate and placed it in front of himself. You all saw it, he gave up on it. But at this moment, Qin Chen's mind seemed to go back to yesterday. The moment when Guo Huchan threw a punch. The world stopped. The prisoners couldn't lift their heads from the metal storm, their prison clothes were hit by rubber bullets like rain on a water surface, constantly splashing ripples. The slowly rising alloy gate, and the rapidly entering mechanical prison guards, the sound of gunfire, rubber bullets hitting, and hydraulic transmission intermingled. At that time, only Qin Chen was calmly watching everyone. No, he was not looking for that moment. Qing Chen stood at the center of his memories and flicked his palm, and the entire world's image seemed to be reversed. Rubber bullets that burst from the sky and hit the ground were flying back to their gun barrels. The fallen prisoners stood up in strange poses. Time passed by every second, and the past images in Qing Chen's mind were played back frame by frame. Until, the moment when Guo Huchan just walked into the 18th prison. Qing Chen walked slowly in the crowd, listening to everyone's voices. People in his memories didn't speak, but the details on their bodies would betray them. Just as Guo Huchan was about to eat all of Qing Chen's meat, Qing Chen opened his eyes. Lu Guangyi. Hey, I'm here, boss. What's up? Lu Guangyi didn't care about hiding his identity and responded quickly. Qing Chen said, I'll point out a few people, and you can pull them out. He turned around and pointed out 8 people among the prisoners. As those people were pulled out by Lu Guangyi, Guo Huchan's face gradually turned ugly, and he didn't care about the meat anymore. Qing Chen sat back in his seat and said to Guo Huchan, Are these 8 people yours? Not all of them, Guo Huchan said with a dark expression. Qing Chen nodded. After you were brought in, your gaze swept over 5 people and they all made a gesture of extending their index fingers. Although I don't know what that gesture means, I'm pretty sure they were doing it for you. The other 3 exchanged glances immediately. Lin Xiaoxiao and Yi Wan's eyes changed when they heard this. At that time, they were busy dodging bullets and didn't have time to observe everyone's reactions. It seemed that in that chaotic and torrential moment, Qing Chen was the only clear-headed bystander. Li Shutong smiled, there are people from other factions here at prison number 18, so it's normal that they are watching me. Lin Xiaoxiao felt proud and asked, Boss, should we transfer all these people to other prisons? No need, Li Shutong shook his head, it will raise unnecessary suspicions if we transfer 8 people for no reason. Yi Wan, isolate all 8 of them, interrogate them one by one, and see who the other 3 are from. At this moment, Qing Chen saw Lin Xiaoxiao's proud look and remembered his carefree attitude earlier. He stood up and pointed to more than 20 people. But this time he said nothing, and Lin Xiaoxiao suddenly felt a bit toothache. He whispered to Li Shutong, Boss, this guy has found all of our people. Li Shutong looked at Qing Chen and praised him, although you're not a transcendent yet, your memory and analytical abilities are better than many transcendents. Guo Huchan saw that Qing Chen had found the knight's people and suddenly realized that this young man was not from the knight family. What should I call you, young man? Qing Chen glanced at him. Qing Shi. Guo Huchan was a bit confused, how did the knight family get involved with the Qing Shi consortium? Just because someone's surname is Qing doesn't mean they belong to the Qing Shi consortium. Even if they do, they may not stay there for life, Li Shutong smiled, in the wilderness, there is also a famous person with the surname Qing. Guo Huchan's attitude suddenly changed 180 degrees. He silently pushed the plate back in front of Qing Chen and warmly said, Qing Chen, do you have any impression of the spades? Not really, Qing Chen said coldly. He still couldn't figure out Guo Huchan's personality. Although he was tall and strong, he had an unusually active mind and no sense of propriety. Moreover, he came to compete for the taboo substance with him, so he naturally wouldn't have a good expression. Today, relying on Li Shutong's power, he had cut off some of the wings arranged by the opponent in advance, which was considered a gain. As they spoke, there was a commotion nearby. Qing Chen looked over and saw Yi Wan frowning. The 3 members he had just identified as non-spades were lying on the ground, their lips and faces turning purple. This was a typical symptom of suffocation. Yi Wan took off his shirt and wrapped his hand before squatting down to gently open the mouth of one of the dead. He looked up at Li Shutong and said, Boss, it's a venom sac hidden behind the wisdom tooth. There's a faint bitter almond smell when the mouth is open, which is cyanide. These three aren't my spades, Guo Huchan said. Assassin, Li Shu Tong said calmly, it's quite surprising. No one knew who arranged for them to be here, nor why they came to prison number 18. Qing Chen watched silently, showing no reaction on his face. Only his tightly clenched fist showed his nervousness. He opened his palm and saw the red mark left by his nails and sweat. Whether in the real world or the inside world, this was the first time he had faced death. He had only seen things like poison
Volume
hidden
1.
behind teeth in movies.
Chapter 1, Sonata.
The ruthless methods of the
1.
three
A
assassins
person to
brought
wait
Qing
for.
Chen back to reality
Autumn,
and made him
2022.
realize that this was a world
The
where
small,
beasts ran
drizzling
rampant.
rain fell from the gray sky,
Countdown,
lightly landing
15
on the
hours
streets of the city.
21 minutes and 59
Despite
seconds.
it being autumn, pedestrians
The
could
return
still
was
be seen
imminent,
without
and
umbrellas,
he couldn't afford to
quickly
waste
passing
time
by
on
with their
irrelevant
hands held
matters.
above their heads.